Janet Jackson, ladies and gentlemen, Janet Jackson is in all kinds of trouble. And apparently her PR person tried to bail her out of some of the trouble. And she fired him. So, wow, Janet, she's doubling down big time. So it all started because she did this interview with The Guardian, which is a paper out of the UK. And The Guardian asked her something about Kamala Harris, to which, they're like, are you excited? You could be voting for the first American Black female president, Kamala Harris. And she said, quote, she's not Black. That's what I heard, that she's Indian. And according to the author, Janet Jackson looked at the author expectantly, perhaps assuming that the author had Indian heritage. And the author tries to give her an out and says, well, she's both. And then Janet fires back, her father's white. That's what I was told. I mean, I haven't watched the news in a few days. I was told that they discovered her father was white. At this point, the author of this article says that they were totally floored because Harris's father is a Jamaican economist, a Stanford professor who split from her Indian mother when she was 5. So this has started a big firestorm. So apparently Janet's PR person decided to issue a statement saying, you know what, Janet didn't mean it. And she totally respects Kamala Harris and is really proud that she's a Black woman and blah, 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 blah. So Janet fired the PR person and said, I never authorized that statement. So now the PR person is out saying, well, I was just trying to save her, save her from the vultures that would be coming in this cancel culture in which we live, in which you are not allowed to have an opinion. And you are apparently spreading misinformation if you say something that others believe to be untrue. I don't really know what was going through Janet's head in any of this, but it kind of feels like people are making a whole lot of something out of nothing. Again, the Rolling Stone had to get in on the action too. So she's being sort of canceled overnight, and apparently willingly. She's like, to heck with them all. To heck with them all. I own this. I fired my PR person, and that's that. So wow, Janet Jackson, amazing. Again, I get back to this, there are some people that are willing to sort of speak their mind, and there are plenty of people that are very, very fearful, which is why everything that we're seeing coming out of the polls right now, where you see very little opportunity for Kamala Harris ahead, and you see a lot of opportunity in many different paths to 270 for Donald Trump, I think it's relevant because I don't think that you're fully appreciating exactly what's happening. People are afraid to speak, and think about that in and of itself. You can't actually say what you think. I mean, this is one of the big things, right? They keep going after Heritage Foundation, which came out with the Project 2025, right? And they're like, oh, this Project 2025, it's so bad, it's so sinister, it's so secret, and they're going to take away your rights for this, that, and the other. Listen, Project 2025 is all about actually preserving some of our rights and actually getting rid of the deep state that would otherwise be problematic. I mean, think about the fact that the IRS is out there touting Kamala Harris. The IRS is literally announcing via its union that it's backing Kamala Harris because, she signed some 80,000 of them up for new gigs and increased their budget. Just exactly what everybody wants. Well, Project 2025 is like, no, we don't really want the IRS poking around that much. And by the way, while we're at it, we don't want the unions running the schools. We want kids to have equal access to opportunity and education. We actually want more energy. So let's take it all and not rule out some things because they're not in vogue or in favor. I mean, it's actually a really good plan. Donald Trump's like, no, it's not mine, because they're trying to sort of pin it on him. But again, this is this manipulation of the narrative. I encourage you to go check it out, by the way, yourself. You can go to 25truths.org or just go to Project 2025, read it there. It's not clandestine. It's not some backroom thing. It's right there out in the open. But they're trying to make you think otherwise. And it's pretty sickening. And I think Americans have woken up to all of it. And that's what's exciting about this moment in time. I mean, that's what's revolutionary, really, when you think about it. I have to be careful on my word choice. Saying things like revolutionary can get me in a little bit of trouble. Kamala can say it. Hillary can say she's willing to jail you over certain things, but God forbid a conservative say anything. Like, remember when we were talking about poor Joe Biden and poor Joe Biden's sort of faltering, and we kept bringing it up, and they were like, oh, it's fake news, it's cheap fakes. Oh no, it wasn't. If you listened to us, you might have actually gotten the warning. If you listened to me on inflation, you would have actually been in a much better political position. Hey, I could have sat here and said, do that. Fine, go for it. Keep printing money. Sign that Inflation Reduction Act. We'll see how that will work out for you, because it'll actually probably cost you a lot of seats. There's another, actually, let me show you some of the data from Polymarket that one of our team members sent over. Take a look at this, guys. Okay, so this is a Polymarket tweet that they put out, and they're actually pointing out, dare I say, okay, let's see if we can see this a little bit better. Okay, balance of power, 28% going to Republicans, 21% chance of it going to Democrats. Why do you think that's happening? Because of the economy. And here's the thing, like, people can actually be pretty forthcoming on that. It's a little less tainted in terms of the so-called stink around it, right? They're a little less hesitant to say, hey, this is where I am. This is what I'm going to be doing in terms of my voting power. Whereas when they ask you, hey, you're voting for Trump or you're voting for Kamala, I think people feel a whole lot more pressure. So that's being reflected in some of these numbers. You can follow them on Twitter, actually, Polymarket. Maybe we can put their URL up for you too, or in the show notes, because they've got a lot of great data. I actually go and check it rather continuously because it's an open market. It's going all night long, right? And you continue to watch this stuff. And I'm telling you, I really think, and I got this right in 2016. Everybody's like, what are you talking about, Trish? And I'm like, don't count him out. I actually think he's got a really, really good shot.